And we are back. So that's exciting. Have you been on any other podcasts talking about this yet? Or are you going to make your way around? Or,
Hell no, it's the first podcast ever.
well, this is probably going to turn into something for you then.
I hope so. I hope so.
That's the one to really be on is Nick's. His is a little more edited and professional. I'll let him know. It's
Okay.
the drywall podcast. If you haven't, do you listen to podcasts at all?
No, I just stumbled over this one on Instagram.
Yeah.
It was related with I think it was Can-Am Tools,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and yeah, and I followed them. So and I saw yours.
Yeah. Can-Am's great. I was actually talking with Wolfgang last night. It was the first kind of back and forth we've really had, which is kind of nice. We're all heading down to Vegas next week for the Build 23. So that'll be good. Columbia, Can-Am, Fresco Harmony. Trying to think of who else is there, but all in a very small area, Trimtex. So yeah, it's gonna be great. That little block is where I think the fun's gonna be had. You got other builders and mud providers and that kind of stuff there, and I can't imagine they're gonna be as exciting. Have you done any trade shows or anything like that? Have you been to any?
I haven't been to any, and the company, the Invent Help, they're doing trade shows
Oh, okay. So
in the States. In the
on the
States.
on their end, do they have a copy of that they're kind of showing or?
They're just showing what they sent me on that little
Oh, look at that.
strip.
That's fantastic. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then it shows the bucket hanger. It talks about it,
So
and
this is essentially a pitch.
yeah,
Oh wow. So for everybody just listening, it's almost looks like a booklet. You open it up, real nice looking thing and it's got like an iPad inside of it. That's got a what is it like play stop and volume or something like that?
yes, play, stop, and volume.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, so this company seems to be like it was probably worth its weight. If you didn't have um a big understanding of it and you just had a good idea, that's not a bad idea.
Yes, for who does not have a big understanding of it, yes, it's good. But after you've been through the process,
Yeah,
you would have done it on your own.
100%. Yeah. I'm sure it's just making it look fancy a little bit,
Yeah.
like being able to do this and that. It really does depend though, because there are guys that are just not interested in doing the manufacturing of it or the pitch of it or anything like that. Like sometimes with the tool companies, you'll have a decent idea and they'll just pick it up and they'll send you, whatever check for it. Like if you've got, like when the Tomahawks came out, that bicycle latch on the back of the Tomahawk system.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, somebody invented that.
Oh,
It wasn't them, right? And that's how that kind of stuff happens. The other part of that is there's a lot of stealing of ideas out there too, right? That's why I'm so happy that you got it patented.
yeah, that was the first thing I did. I only had one guy that I knew that I spoke to him of it. Nobody else.
Yeah, fantastic.
I do have a couple more ideas, but unless this flies, I'm not gonna spend any more money on it. Anything else?
Well, yeah, and it's also really hard. Like um I keep going back to like Fresco Harmony because it's something that I didn't know anything about 6 months ago. And you kind of get into it, but the amount of naysayers out there that wouldn't buy it even if it was the best thing in the world, it is just got to be like walking through mud.
I know what you mean. My dad is one of those guys.
Yep. Uh, um, so is that something you'd be interested in making your way around the podcast community?
Sure.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yep.
What are you gonna do when you head back home? Are you gonna just continue taping, but over there?
My idea is to get a small. At first, I would have to work, right?
Of course.
I would build my own company. I would start drywall metal frames, drywall, and taping.
Yep.
And then I'm not getting any younger.
None of us are, my friend.
I would want to open the store with the taping product, taping drywall, get a little warehouse where I can sell some drywall, metal studs, and everything related to the trade.
So it sounds like over there they don't have a whole lot of pre-made mud. Is that correct? Everything's kind of you're mixing it yourself on
You're
site. I would,
mixing it yourself. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with shipping, doesn't it?
It does do a lot with shipping, but I also think that in the near future, even here, they might change it because regarding with plastic, because you got a plastic bag inside the box, right?
Oh,
And you throw
totally.
it away. That's a hazard for environment.
Yeah.
And back there, and even here, you go to Home Depot now, they're not giving you the plastic bag anymore.
Yeah.
They're giving you a paper bag.
Yeah, you can't get a decent straw at a fast food place, let alone a bag of mud.
Yeah, and where I'm from Portugal, and that's they're very strict with plastic. Very strict. You can't get a plastic bag almost anywhere. They have like these paper bags, and the inside is like waxed, and it's
Yeah,
yeah, and they're good.
I've seen that with like when you go to the keg, their takeout containers are the same thing. It's cardboard on the outside, but it's a wax lining, right? So it's not gonna get to the cardboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a neat idea. I kind of feel like too, I'm mixing water in buckets anyways. So like I'm fucking already doing it. Why are we not just doing the powder? And I think a lot of us we know what our mud consistency is going to look like.
Oh yeah, for
We
sure.
yeah, we know exactly what it is. So yeah, there's a big part of me that's wondering what the hell we're still having prefab mud for. Now, there's nothing like walking into a big wall of mud boxes. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of that. But I just mean yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to go the way of the dodo, or they're going to have to implement some sort of like a metal container, right? Because plastics they're getting chomped down on pretty hard.
They are. They are.
Um, CGC has just started doing their all-purpose in a bucket, like the red box. They've implemented that into a bucket where it used to just be certainty that came in a bucket. Um, which is good because you don't have to buy extra buckets to mix it, but the bucket's made of plastic. So
Yeah.
I am kind of wondering when that's gonna all kind of fall down because I'm one of those people that I know the buckets cost $3 or if you got a decent sales rep like Eric, he'll throw your buckets in for free. So I just fucking throw them out. I'm not cleaning a 90 bucket. It's
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? That turns into the shit bucket for the rest of the site and then it goes in the dumpster. I'm not doing it. Not for
Yeah.
three, not
90,
for
90 is a
$3.
hassle. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you were saying 12,000 board feet. How long does that typically take you to do?
About 6 to 7 days.
Yeah, like that seems to be right around the answer. The guys that are like real dialed in will do like 9 or 10,000 in 5 or 6 days. So a little bit one way or the other. It's pretty good stuff. Um, if you've got a builder that you trust and you know that the work is consistent, you can really kind of dial in what you're doing. It's easy to make it consistent.
Oh yeah.
What are you using to sand?
I'm well, even with pre-sand, I always use the electric sander.
Okay.
So it's not high-end fancy Miracas or Tools.
Yeah, I use a DeWalt.
Yeah,
I was talking with Brad the other day. He's picking these pieces of shit up off of Amazon. And there are things about the cheap ones that he's really starting to like. And when they run out or stop working, you just throw them in the garbage and get a new one.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a little bit of a pressure plate on some of the new ones where those brushes will touch the wall, but until you kind of engage it, the spinning doesn't touch the wall. So
Yeah.
it's very easy to get a real light sand out of those ones. And I'm starting to wonder where all these expensive ones fell off with that, because it just seems like such a good idea.
Well, yeah, you can see these expensive, especially I can see Mirka. It has no brushes at all.
Yeah, that's scary.
Just,
That's a
it's just the plate and the sandpaper is just right to the edge almost.
yeah.
You're sanding angles, it goes right in there. It's a nice sander. I've seen people sand. Oh yeah, it's really good drywall sander. I'm using one off Amazon also, and it has the brushes. And I don't like using them when they're new. When I get them off
Oh,
the box, I use them like for 2 or 3 houses. Like I always have 2 or 3 sanders. I
okay.
never have one in the car. If one breaks down, I always have another one. I'm
Okay,
not
yeah.
going back to the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, no, nothing. Yeah.
No. So I use the new ones always for the pre-sand, 2 or 3 houses. And then it gets a little bit worn off, and then that's when it's easy to glide on the wall.
Okay, you got to work it in then.
You gotta work it in.
Yeah. And then there's probably a sweet spot, and then it all goes to shit or
Yeah,
what?
yeah, that's it. Then it's gone.
I love it. Yeah, but you know what? How much are you spending on this and that, and what's your time worth? It's I really do start to understand where these things are starting to find their place, right? And I like the DeWalt. It's like an extension of a sander, right? It's some of these other ones. I've used the Festool. I really liked. I had a Merca rep out the one day. I didn't like it as much as what I did the Festool. Um, the HEPA are nice, where you literally don't have to wear a mask if you don't want to. I always still do anyways.
Yeah.
But the price point, that's like 2 grand. That's the part that's a little rough to swallow, right?
I'm always using the full face mask, respirator,
Yeah, you should be anyways. Are you doing fiberfuse at all, or all just paper?
all just paper.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I don't think people are thinking about when they're using that fiberfuse is it's a it like fiberglass effectively. And when you're sanding that shit and when you're even cutting them off to put them up, when you're running the auto taper, it's right in your face.
Yeah,
Um,
you'll get it in the air.
totally. Yeah, and you gotta be careful with that. Are you using soap in your mud at all?
I do use that no puck.
No, Pock's the best. I've never used anything but it. Um,
It's a little costly.
it is.
It's a
It
little bit.
is. But do you find that it irritates your eyes at all when you're sanding?
Well, I always use my full face mask. When I didn't use it, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
See,
always using.
I don't find it as much as what I'm reading. So a lot of guys from the States, they like Cam has been on the podcast, and he has lemon scented like soap that he puts in
Like,
it. So you can smell it when you come onto his site, he says.
yeah,
But when you read the forums about that stuff, it is very almost painful in your eyes because it's soap.
yeah,
I've not found that too much with the no POC, but I'm also not putting a whole ton of it in there. I'll put about a half a cup or like
yeah,
half a cap in
yeah,
5 or whatever. Yeah. So that's not too bad.
yeah. And I don't use it in all the processes, or else, as I said, it's very cost. I use it for uh corner beats, but wherever it bubbles up, I use it like and especially on my butt joints. My butt joints and a little bit on my finish coats. Butt
Hmm.
joints, finish coats, and corner beats. When I use my angle, I never put any on it. I
I
used to
what are you using for the angles? Do you have flushers or angle heads?
angle heads.
Yeah. I feel like that's such a tight coat. It would be real hard to get bubbles in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I use no puck, I think the next day it doesn't dry as fast.
That could be too. I
So I never put it on that coat because I like to go around next day and skim all my three ways.
Yep.
And if that doesn't dry, those three ways don't dry for the next day, that I'm in trouble. I can't do them again. So I don't put any on it, and I find that it dries faster if I don't put any on.
Yeah, okay. I guess it makes sense, right? Have you used the product, the three-way yet? Have you seen it?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've never used it.
Yeah, they're pretty neat. Um, when I first got in touch with it, I just saw Brad doing it years ago. He kind of did a video of it. I bought some and it didn't make a whole lot of sense. And then I had Royce, who invented it, show me how to use it. What a difference. It's a pretty wild product when you know what you're doing with it. It's kind of like trying to put something together that you don't have the instructions for. And then when the inventor shows you, it's the same thing. I'm sure someone will find a stupid way of using your invention and go, this thing doesn't work. It's you really do have to have an idea of how to use it. Those handle spots, those have a bottom on it, right? It's just like a little 3 or 4 inch holder, and then your pole would be sticking out of it.
Yes, they do have a bottom on it. So
Yeah, that's smart.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're a
that's
little narrow. They could be wider. Doesn't matter if they're a little wider. Some handles are thicker than other,
mhm.
and if they just come up on an angle, even if it's wider, just tilt a little bit. There's no problem because it has a bottom.
Oh, it's still holding it for you. Yeah,
Yeah, still.
that's the idea. Is that this is not a laborer that you have following you around. It stays there. It's not falling. It's not walking itself down the wall. Like it.
No, no,
Yeah,
no. Yeah.
that's the amount of times that you're going and reaching for something and you're up on a now so I don't use stilts at all. I'm not good with heights, and I think I would just get awkward, and it would do me a disservice. But what I do use is scaffolding, and you drop something on a scaffold, or you got to redo the mud, or you're fucking kicking it around because it's up on your platform. That's the kind of thing that you could scoot yourself over to still if you were using scaffolding.
Mhm.
It just getting it away from you. I find that same like I said with the extra spots for your extra tools.
Yeah.
Like I've got whenever I find this specific Carhartt pants, I pick them up because it's like a double pocket down the side. The back pockets are nice and deep. I just have like a method to my madness of where everything goes. But you're carrying 5 pounds of tools on you for no reason. If you had this, you'd just walk over to it. It comes in and out of every room with you. Um, and then that each piece of that comes apart,
Each
right?
piece. Yep.
Yeah. So you realistically that the bucket is the biggest piece of it.
The bucket is the biggest piece, and you can fit everything inside the bucket.
I was just about to ask you that. Yeah. You've got your boxes and stuff. It looks like you put them away very well, by the way.
Yeah,
But it looks like you've got like is it like a cellophane or like a foam blue stuff in between?
those were, what your kids when they have those pads that they play on.
Yes.
I
Is
cut
that what it
those to
is?
size. I cut those to size. I put some screws into them, and they
Yeah.
fit like sleeves for my tools.
That's brilliant. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, that's a guy that knows what's going on. I've got the big vault case for my big stuff, but I still have foam that I've cut sections into to like slip my angle heads in, things like that. I don't think people are doing that enough.
No, you gotta
Just
take care of them. You gotta take care of your tools. Just if they hit on some in a little angle somewhere, you'll get a little notch on, it, and then it'll be scratching, or you gotta fix it.
yeah, it's toast at that point. Yeah. Or like you said, have you ever redone your blades for an angle head?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, yeah, it is. You gotta lay them down, see if they're on a flat surface, see even shine light on one side, see if they're nice. It's
Yeah.
it's quite a bit of work.
It really is. Yeah. And when I was talking to Cam about them, I had Cam and Josh on the same we had like three of us on at the same time, and we had this discussion, and Cam's answer was, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm just buying a new one. I'll throw this one in the garbage. I did just because like how much time are you going to spend on it? And they've paid for themselves over and over again by the time you've really run down that blade. or you've chipped it, one or the other. I don't think those blades really do wear down like you would a box blade either. It's a different type of metal.
They're darker. It's a darker metal. Yeah,
Yeah.
but back in the day they had the normal metal and they did wear down. I had one of those.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah.
still know guys that they're still renting them.
Isn't
They,
that insane?
yep.
Now, mind you, before I picked up my stuff and got in with Columbia, I would have loved to rent them. It's realistically, if you're a hand taper that doesn't have the budget to pick up a bunch of tools, to be like, what realistically could they cost to rent? A couple $100, I would think.
I really don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. That was the only way to get them back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, and then guys were stealing them and trying to, reverse engineer them, which is effectively how the rest of them got started. Yeah, so that's awesome. How would anyone get a hold of you if they wanted to talk to you about this?
Well, I have they can go on through social media or Instagram
Mm-hmm.
or TikTok, leave me a message. And yeah,
Simple enough.
simple enough.
That's excellent. You got any shout outs you want to do?
No, not really.
Just the bucket hanger.
That's the bucket hanger.
Perfect. Well, that's good, man. That's pretty exciting. You got anything else you want to add to it? I think we kind of covered everything. Yeah, well, let the people watch and just take another good look.
Yeah. Yeah, for all the big companies out there, just get this idea and then we'll come to a deal and maybe take your stuff overseas.
That's not a bad idea because there is a little bit of give and take there of if they pick it up and then you'll take their stuff overseas. It's not a bad idea, but that's an interesting twist to it because I would assume that somebody's going to come in and offer you a percentage to go away effectively. Right? They're going to take it over and they'll pay you your royalties or whatever, because it would be very hard to put a nominal value once on that.
Yeah.
I would assume because I imagine you're pretty deep into it, with your getting them to patent and then making your prototypes and that kind of stuff. So it's for someone to just drop a check in your lap is probably not really going to be as good as what you're hoping for.
We'll see. All
Yeah.
depends on their interest and how far they're willing to go with it. A big company would have the resources to manufacture this and put it on the market out there fast and at a good price.
Well,
I've
sorry.
tried to look into manufacturing and it's pretty costly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's got to be this conversation that goes, this is what it costs to get all the dyes and all that other kind of stuff made to mass produce them, and then this is how many we've got to sell to kind of quadruple that or whatever the number is
Yep,
they're looking for.
of course.
But oh, I imagine it's a big number. Yeah. But if you had a national company, that's gonna, even if you had two in every Home Depot in the country, that's enough.
Yeah, that's true. And as I said, the States market is a really big market.
Yeah, and there's no shortage of tapers. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think anything that's going to save people's back, anything that's going to save people from, it's got to be a pain in the ass to take those stilts off, to get back down, to pick up something, to stand back up. It's. I see some of the people out there that can flip a knife from the floor up, but I mean, I'd land on my ass if I tried to do that. So I don't
Yeah.
know how that works so well.
Yeah. And there's so many other good ideas that you can take off of the bucket hanger. I can mention one, like even for Finnish carpenters, they have a big opening, like an archway, and they still don't have it's still not trimmed. They can put not the bucket hanger, but something identical to with the bucket hanger that has a platform, not the bucket, but a platform on the edge. Put one on each side of the opening, and put an LVL or two planks across, and they have their bench, their workbench. They put their miter saw on top, and they do their work. And once they do almost all the house, they just take it down and do that archway.
I did, you know what? When I was framing, that's what I did. I used to go into the biggest spot that I could do last quickly and build myself a table. And that's exactly what I did. Except you don't have to build the table. It's already there. With this. Yeah, that's neat. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. That it's a very interesting product, and I can, you can kind of see where things start to fit in the industry, where there has to be someone somewhere going, I wish there was something just like that, and they just don't know that it exists yet. People will talk about probably right away, people are going to talk about what's the demand for this, but until it's shown to people, what was the demand for an angle head before it was invented? There was none. There's also this wave of naysayers that look at absolutely every new product out there going, oh, this thing is blah 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 or whatever. But there had to have been that conversation with a compound too, and there had to have been that conversation with an angle head and an auto taper and so on and so forth. And these are things now that we're sitting back going, what would we have done without this? It's Ice Rock's another one of these guys that is constantly inventing stuff. And like I'm a 15-year guy. Uh, we're pushing 20 years now, and there are things going like this. I never would have come up with that. I just would have kept doing it my way until my back was pooched.
Yeah. I invented this out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
I really needed something to not carry too much weight up the stairs.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Well, and a bunch of three steps, and like for you to like make a table or raise something up to that height, other than this product, is you've got more shit in your room now. Especially if you're on stilts. Now you're kicking around and you're dodging. Um, I find that the most dangerous is when there's a bunch of stuff in the room and I'm in the zone and I'm boxing ceilings or I'm doing something that's got my vision somewhere else, and then you step on a putty knife or you kick a box of mud and you can take a bail pretty quick, and that's on my feet. I can't even imagine what it's like on stilts.
Yeah, it is quite dangerous.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, that's exciting. What's your Instagram and TikTok handle, and are you on YouTube?
No, I'm not on YouTube.
Yeah, okay. So, well, yeah, what are those handles and where can people find you? Instagram, TikTok, you're on Facebook?
I do have Facebook also, but I do not have anything related with the bucket hanger on it.
Oh, okay.
So on Instagram I'm at Arthur Carvalho .942, and on TikTok I think it's just Arthur Carvalho.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. And then again, if anybody can't find you, just send me a message. I'll send you his way, no problem.
Okay.
All right, man. Well, that was fantastic. I'm happy that we did this before I went to Vegas, because we're about to rub shoulders with a bunch of people. So it's just kind of getting the bug out there a little bit. Maybe we can see what we can do to give you a hand, and we'll reach out to some of the other guys with podcasts and see if we can't get the ball rolling a little bit.
That would be great.
Okay, man. Well, have yourself a good night. I'll do our little outro here. Be humble, treat everyone the same, and do your fucking job.